What? You and Zachary really got married? Zoe's shocked voice came from the other end of the phone. I replied calmly. And he has been secretly in love with you for 9 years since he was 18 years old. Continued Zoe. Yes. Ava, it's not April Fool's Day today. You're not fooling me? Zoe asked again to confirm. No, we're really together. I chuckled as I declared. Then you've really hurt him badly. You have to make it up to him. How come I hurt him? I didn't understand what Zoe said. Perhaps it was because you fell for so many people that he didn't dare to profess his love to you and has hidden his feelings for 9 years. 9 years of youth. Zoe sighed. Don't you think he was miserable? I was stumped by Zoe's question. Indeed. I had asked Zachary why he liked me and why he didn't tell me his feelings. But he had answered neither of the questions. Was it all because I had a wandering eye? But as you know, I just liked the pretty face and casually blurted out that I liked someone. I usually forgot it in a few days. As for Timothy, it was he who took the initiative to tell me that he liked me, and I agreed to be with him on the spur of the moment. After I broke up with him, I haven't fallen for anyone. I defended myself. I don't think Zachary knew that. He couldn't afford to be dumped like Timothy, so he would rather remain a friend of yours. Those who have a secret crush care about gains and losses the most. Zoe persuaded earnestly. Mrs. J. That's all I say. It's up to you. Bye. Zoe's words drew me into endless thoughts. Somehow, my phone was playing Zachary's song, Crush on the One and Only. I didn't know how many times I had looped it when Zachary came back. Today, he went out for dinner with the contestants, and he smelled a little drunk. Why did you drink? I went forward to hold him, but unexpectedly, he wrapped his arm around my waist. The next moment, he pressed me against the wall. He stared at me deeply with his tipsy eyes, which were filled with complicated emotions. He pinched my chin and brought my lips to his. He bent his head and bit me gently. Such a state of Zachary was strange to me. I put my hands on his chest and said, Zach, you're so different when you get drunk. My lips were then sealed by his, as he invaded my mouth with the bitterness of the wine. After an intense kiss, he bit my lips again. He buried his head in my neck and said in a muffled voice, You're a bad woman. How much alcohol have you drunk? I was at a loss. Not much. 3 glasses of red wine with Sprite. What? Wait a minute. I pushed Zachary. That's what we drank at the senior prom in high school. Right. Zachary let go of me and staggered to the couch. I was afraid that he would fall, so I quickly followed him. However, it was still too late. I watched as he picked up the kettle on the table and drew it to his mouth, but he lost his balance and the water hence splashed all over him. Zach! I hurried over to put away the kettle. Then I found that his eyes had regained their clarity. Sober now? I finally let out a sigh of relief. Hurry up and take a shower. Zachary looked at me and answered in a deep voice. Then he stood up and dragged me into the bathroom. What do you want? Zachary pulled me into his arms and said with a serious look, Service. I was stunned for a while before I came to my senses and quickly replied, No need. Then, just as I was about to run away, he carried me directly into the bathroom. It stemmed from the story that had happened this morning. I got up and saw the debit card that Zachary had left for me. Then I took a selfie with the card, made the photo a meme saying, Thanks for your service, and sent it to him. And after an hour, Zachary, who had buried himself in work in his studio, replied to me with an MM. It was not until tonight that I understood the meaning of the MM. Therefore, tonight, the man devoted himself to providing the exclusive service for me. My guess that he could only do it for 5 minutes was also smashed by his actual efforts. At noon the next day, I was woken up by a phone call. It took me quite a while to touch the phone in a daze. Hello! My voice was very hoarse as if my throat had been burned. Ava, are you okay? Your voice was fine yesterday. Why is it hoarse today? Zoe asked worriedly. I'm fine. I just talked too much yesterday. I rubbed my eyes and found that the culprit was staring at me meaningfully by the bed. Zoe could tell that I couldn't talk much, so she just exhorted me to take care of myself and then hung up. Zachary bent down to put away my phone and said with great interest, Did you enjoy my service last night? I raised my eyes and glared at him, but it's too good for me to enjoy it for a second time. As I spoke, I stuffed the debit card into his hand. For your hard work last night. He couldn't hold back his laughter and kissed me gently on the cheek. You worked harder than me, so you'd better keep it. I was so angry that I turned my back on him. He held me in his arms and whispered, "Well, it's time to get up." I narrowed my eyes and pretended a sleepy look. "I can't get up. It seems that I should take you with me the next time I work out at the gym." "Don't. I've already worked out too much with you last night." 18 in the end. I was pulled out of bed by Zachary with reluctance. After getting washed up, I collapsed on the couch and was about to continue my sleep. Right at that moment, the doorbell rang. Its intermittent sounds woke me up instantly. Zachary hadn't opened the door for so long that I had to support myself with my sore legs to open the door with impatience. "Zachary? Why did you order takeout food again? Didn't I tell you not to?" The moment I opened the door, I swallowed the rest of my words because it was not the delivery guy standing outside, but the members of Zachary's team in the talent show. One of them was having the camera lens of his phone pointed at me. Naturally, they recognized me and couldn't help but ask, "Ava, why are you?" Well, My mind went blank and I couldn't find an excuse to fool him. "She's my wife." A deep voice came from behind when I was held back into a firm embrace. Zachary reached out to block the phone lens. "She's timid and doesn't want to be the center of attention." The owner of the phone, Fabian Lind, was suddenly aware of what he was doing. He quickly swiped his fingers across the screen and said, "I'm sorry. I thought that Mr. J was single. I've already turned off the live streaming now. I'm truly sorry." Live streaming? My body instantly turned cold, and I almost tumbled as my legs lost strength. Zachary helped me to the side and motioned for the contestants to come inside. "Come in and have a seat. We'll make tea for you in the kitchen. Just find a place to sit." As he spoke, he held me in the kitchen. I looked at Zachary, who was calmly preparing the tea, and I suddenly understood something. "Did you do it on purpose?" I drew closer to him and glared at him. "Huh?" Zachary didn't stop his movement while he looked up at me and slightly raised his eyebrows. But unfortunately, the curve on his lips told me about his thoughts. "No wonder you insisted on pulling me off the bed today. Also, someone knocked on the door just now but you deliberately refused to open it. However, you showed up shortly after I opened the door." I questioned him angrily. "Zachary, can you explain it to me?" Zachary looked at me innocently and said, "I'm wronged. I pulled you up to avoid disturbing your orderly lifestyle. As for why I didn't open the door, it was because I was occupied at that time. Occupied with tweeting." "Tweeting? What a lame excuse." Zachary nodded and handed his phone to me. I clicked on Twitter and found his latest tweet. "I'm Ava Jones' husband. As she has just acknowledged, there was a photo of our hands in rings, which had been taken to cater to Zachary's mother. The other one was that my head was turned away while Zachary was looking into the camera. I could tell by the clothes that it was shot on the last time I had bumped into Timothy at the TV station and pretended to take photos with Zachary. Needless to say, it must be Zachary who secretly pressed the shutter and then used my mobile phone to send him the photo via airdrop. I looked at the time the tweet was posted. It was 10 minutes ago, just before I opened the door. "Zachary, I really didn't expect you to be so calculating." As I spoke, I threw the phone back to him. Zachary caught the phone and pulled me into his arms. "Yes, I'm afraid you'll abandon me, so I have to seize the initiative to verify my identity." His words made my heart ache and melt. I remembered Zoe had told me before that Zachary had kept me in his heart for so many years, but it was not until now that I was aware of my feelings for him. "How would I dare?" I said in a muffled voice. "You're so popular now. So many girls call you husband. Besides, you've made our relationship public in such a dramatic way. What should we do if we get tired of each other in the future?" Then, I looked up to Zachary, only to find his face and eyes darkened. "Will you get tired of me?" Zachary's grip on my waist was slightly tightened, and I instantly became alert. I looked at his frowning eyebrows and said weakly, "It's just in case." His eyes gradually turned cold. I immediately cringed and corrected myself. I was wrong. There won't be no such a case. His furrowed eyebrows finally relaxed. He reached out to pinch my cheek. "The tea is ready. If you don't want to stay here with them, you can wander around. I'll pick you up tonight." I stared after him as he left the kitchen and realized that I had lost before this quarrel even began.